This program is brought to you by Resonance 104.4 FM. If you like what you hear and want to support our work, please make a donation at fundraiser.resonance.fm.
Their throat is an open sepulchre. This is where you all get ready for the killing. With their tongues they have deceived. The poison of asps is under their lips. Their mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift and shed blood. Destruction and unhappiness is in their way, and the way of peace they have not known. There is no clear cross before their eyes.
opera, 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 opera,
Opera.
opera,
Opera.
opera. You put on your best tiara. You hired a very nice, freshly pressed suit. You splashed out on a nice bottle of champagne for your social lubrication beforehand, and you went out to the opera and you heard that. And you were very, very disappointed because this was not what you were expecting of the opera at all. Your costume was fully wasted on the reprobates around and the reprobates performing. That was a performance of from Cafe Otto, working with the marvelous Goody Pal and Pals, and Lottie, Depresstival, Bowater, who sang the aria and is here on Resonance 104.4 FM with me, Ergo Phizmiz, PLC, and we are here to talk about our favourite thing. Which is, if you have not already gathered, our favourite thing, or at least for the purposes of this broadcast, our very favourite thing is opera. Opera. We spend a lot of time working in and around the opera world. We even go to Aldborough, which is the town that sounds like opera because it has so much opera within it, and we're really in the belly of this steaming opera beast now, and so we thought we would come into Resonance and talk to you a little bit about what you're missing out on by not coming to see our wonderful operas. We are performing and currently developing a show which is going to be on at Rada Studios on the 7th of August at 9 p.m. as part of the Tet Opera Festival. It is called
NIBIRU.
NIBIRU.
With an exclamation mark.
With an exclamation mark. And, well, actually, first of all, Lottie, before we continue with perhaps listening to some of NIBIRU, perhaps you could inform our eager listeners on your role in this particular opera.
I am playing NIBIRU as a large papier-mâché happy celestial ball, invasive celestial happy ball who has come to crush your green and pleasant planet with the power of my tap dancing. And is that an adequate enough description? Too obscure?
It's a beautiful description, I think, and it does. It's another thing that if people had put on, if they'd hired that suit and things like that, and spent money on tickets for their friends and things, and polished the shoes and things. If they went to the opera house and saw you as a giant happy tap dancing celestial ball
at the end of time, in the apocalypse.
Yes, because this is a piece that perhaps the reason that the tap dancing celestial ball is so happy is because this is a piece which, to all intents and purposes, appears to celebrate the apocalypse.
Yeah, maybe you want to. Do you want to explain the concept of NIBIRU ever so quickly for anyone who isn't well versed in it? Although I'm sure anyone who's on the internet at any point probably knows all about this.
Yes, you would hope so, because it's obviously a pretty urgent, rather concerning matter, and
next month again.
Yeah, and I believe it's happening next month, and just the fact that we are wasting our time making an opera about the end of the world when actually an actual giant happy celestial ball that is apparently invisible, even though it's really near our planet and is going to crash into it, is actually going to come and obliterate us all, and we're squandering our time making an opera about it. Basically, I suppose it's been in the last 10 years, every few months, people decide that NIBIRU, the giant invisible planet that is on some radical curvature, so consequently it's going to bang into us and obliterate us. And I thought it would be a wonderful idea to make a piece that, instead of being worried about this and worried about our inevitable demise, we should instead be having a party and celebrating the apocalypse and thinking, well, if there is a black hole, then at least all the estate agents are going to be sucked into it, and it's a positive opera, and really, like everything you and I do, we're trying to make a positive impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
Shall we hear a little bit of NIBIRU?
Play a bit of NIBIRU.
This section of NIBIRU is, I believe, Act 5, and it is called Astronauts. And I will not tell you about what will be happening on the stage while this is going on, but there will be. You'll be not surprised to know from the title, an astronaut.
I wrote my love a letter.
Well, I'm afraid I haven't got any space rockets in my garden.
My darling angel, I see you sucked into space. You always liked white and black. Do you remember that polka dot dress? I would nestle my face into your thighs and pretend I was an astronaut. Do you remember the pavements? Astronauts have also walked on pavements. Yes, we did share the Earth with interstellar beings. I floated soft across the pavements and over the fields. The flowers did not yield to the soles of my soft shoes. I went to special classes where we learned.
This computer ran the entire city. There were guidelines set down, there were law books, but no courts. There were guidelines set down as to how you're to behave, what your parameters were. Within these parameters, anything went, anything that was not considered kosher within this realm of this parameter limit would be expressed as a yellow zone, a zone that you don't want to go into and you don't want to become involved in that type of behavior. If you got out of that area, you were given an invite for a reprimand to the computer, which there was one in every city, running each city. You would literally be called in for, shall we say, an interview or an audience with the computer, and you would be advised that you had broken the law, but it wasn't considered a felony, it was a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor as such, if you were judged guilty, you were sent off to one of the work camps.
Well, I'm afraid I haven't got any space rockets in my garden.
Look at 0G, sir. Okay, flight. Roger. Environment, your system okay? Roger, everything okay? Let's go. 1.4G, campus 12. Roger. Vector's okay.
Starting to move out. IP looks on the line.
Roger, I say, do we have our flight boys planning?
Roger. The things we didn't already know about ourselves. I doused myself in precious oils and stared deep into my own abyss, which is only possible through great reflection and equally contortion. I made evil go away, morality, bad ethics with soothing sounds and soft music. And every day I changed your world, my darling. And every day I changed the world, my darling. And infinity is full of only soft music, because even in perpetual reversal there is infinite harmony. And of course, God is always on hold.
Trajectory looks good, flight. Roger. There's good.
When everything in absolute totality goes away and the entirety of your universe, civilization, development, and history disappears, you can rest assured you will be perfectly able still to close your ears, relax, take a deep breath, think only of yourself, and listen to the eternal, perfectly ordered music of the spheres.
That was Act 5, Astronauts from NIBIRU, which we are presenting as the AvantHard Collective at TED Opera Festival, RADA Studios, August the 7th, 9 p.m. This is Resonance 104.4 AM. I am Ergo Phizmiz, PLC.
And I'm Lottie, Bowater or Depresstival.
And we are here talking about our new show NIBIRU, but we're also talking further about opera. But first I thought we ought to talk a little bit further about NIBIRU itself.
Yeah.
Because we have old people on the internet telling us that the planet, despite the fact that you would probably see a giant celestial body about to barge into you, but people are saying that this is a genuine cause for concern.
It's still a very big thing, the NIBIRU hobby, I guess.
Yeah, hobby is a nice
fixation
word for it.
Online then. When was the last supposed NIBIRU?
It was a short time ago, because there was one around December, which was when I released the concept album of it, because the idea was that, well, you only have 7 days to listen to this album, and since it's about what's about to happen to the Earth, then it's really the most apt thing you could be listening to. Not many people did, to be honest, but then but the good thing about this, because I'm always trying to be more internet. I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I think, not internet enough today, so I decided that with NIBIRU, what I could do was completely tie myself in with an internet phenomenon, and then every single time that the people say, "Oh, NIBIRU's coming again," then I get to be Mr. Internet and do a whole big, giant, deluxe marketing campaign for this techno concept album. And the thing is, it's people are obviously, taking it seriously to the extent that NASA
are having to reassure everyone that it's not a threat. Or anytime any space news comes out, there's generally something about NASA being. I don't know why they're trying to satiate anyone, because none of it's based on logic, so there's no point. But what I was gonna ask you, what's the rest of the main key points behind NIBIRU? It's not just about as in not the planet, but your piece, NIBIRU.
Yes, no, it's not just about a big, happy, tap dancing celestial ball. Or estate agents being sucked into black holes, but that is a large part of it. It is also about social networking. It's about the joyous collapse of the industrial nuclear family, and it's about the stupidity of patriotism, and more than anything, it is about techno. It's about loud, noisy techno, and having a great time when everything is collapsing.
And it is. I remember in the blurb that you wrote about the piece, one of the main points was that it has no. It's an opera, but it has no singing in it. So obviously, most people have this conception of opera as being sung in the operatic style, everything sung and everything. So maybe you want to talk a bit about why NIBIRU counts as an opera, even.
Yes, NIBIRU is a defiantly non-singing opera. It is a spoken word opera. I have been making opera since I was very young, 11 or 12 years old. I kind of first really got into it because I found televised operas in the sort of late 80s. They were making television productions of things like Don Giovanni, but they were kind of shot kind of cheap and tacky, but also kind of looked like Dario Argento films. But they also had naked ladies in. So I used to sit up as an 11-year-old boy watching all the naked people on Don Giovanni, and my parents were like, "Oh, bravo, our son is very highbrow." And from there, I developed an interest in opera, and all going well with this one, we will end this one with a nude Father Christmas. So everything pans out eventually. But getting to the main point about what opera actually is, and it's no new idea, because in the 1960s and 1970s, Robert Ashley was making spoken word operas with electronic music. And I think in the 21st century, what an opera is basically like a work and a spectacle. And in the Romantic era, the composers who were trying to make the Gesamtkunstwerk and the total work of art, that is the kind of trajectory that the opera followed. But it's got to the point where the majority of opera that's made in the opera world is still made with opera singers and string orchestras and blah, blah, blah. But kind of in the world of like avant-garde performance, people and all over making works now which incorporate digital media and music and text, and in any combination. I think opera now is the art form where you present a large-scale cross-media performance that can reference anything from history, and it's got everything to do with the combination of artistic elements that we have available to us now, in the same way that opera, when it was invented, was about the combination of artistic elements that they had available to them then. And like the operatic voice started developing the way it did because the string orchestras got bigger, but now we don't need the big orchestra, and equally we don't need to sing in this particular style, and also we don't need to sing at all. So that, in a very obtuse way, is...
I mean, I sort of, when I'm speaking to people that aren't really in the opera world, I mean, that's kind of a normal thing, I suppose. It's still kind of seen as quite a removed, lofty thing that's or genre of music that's only kind of for the rich, really. Which is strange, because it's always been this idea of opera has always been this big, total work of art combining all the kind of technological elements. But you would think now, especially, there would be a sudden resurgence in having a massive interest in people writing and producing operas, just because we have such easy access to technology and it's such an easy thing to put together. All you really need is a computer and this is your line, isn't it? That
a computer, a laptop, a computer, a projector, and some friends is all you need to make an opera, I think.
I find it strange that so much of the opera world is still it's very anachronistic and just sort of performing the same pieces over and over again. I don't know, never know, might be a massive interest in this DIY opera thing. Yeah,
I think there will be. You can see it in the changing shape of things like the Tete Festival that NIBIRU is part of. However many, 8 years ago or something, when I started to work with them, the other shows that were on were primarily groups of instrumentalists and opera singers and chamber stagings, but of things like diverse, interesting subject matters and things. So the kind of experimentalism in opera was coming from things like, like we're doing an opera about Anna Nicole Smith, or, it was like unconventional subject matter was the thing. But if you look at the program of Tete now, there's a lot more things that seem to be referencing electronics and multimedia, and people are also, I guess it's a consequence of it. Well, it's the reason I started working like this as well, but it's a consequence of like people not having enough budgets to put things on that scale, and to have to reduce the amount of people that they've got involved.
Or space.
And,
You've got to
exactly.
really get a massive orchestra together to practice all the time when you're living in a tiny 2-bed flat in London.
No, and Sun Ra had good neighbours, and that's why that was possible for him. But for us, it wouldn't work, would it?
Should we play another track?
Let's play another song. Shall we? Yeah, let's have one more track from NIBIRU before we move on to something else. This one is... Which one am I going to play? This is called networks, and it is about networking.
Focus. Idea.
I write my opinions in
Idea.
public spaces.
Focus.
Public spaces
Idea.
need my
Focus.
opinions. Public
Idea.
spaces need
Focus.
everyone's opinions.
Idea.
Opinions are
Focus.
what matter.
Idea.
Without opinions,
Focus.
we won't know what anyone
Idea.
thinks. And if you didn't
Focus.
know what people think,
Idea.
then how would you know anything at all?
Idea.
That is
Focus.
what art is.
Idea.
Just people's
Focus.
opinions.
Idea.
Thank Apollo
Focus.
for social
Idea.
networking. My social
Focus.
network vanished in
Idea.
the heat. I am
Focus.
comfortable with this.
Idea.
It is still possible
Focus.
to state an opinion
Idea.
in the darkness.
Focus.
My
Idea.
opinion is that it's dark in
Focus.
here.
Idea.
My other opinion is that it's dark
Focus.
in here as well.
Idea.
My third
Focus.
opinion, by process
Idea.
of deduction, is that
Focus.
it's dark in there as well.
Idea. Focus.
It is
Idea.
still possible to
Focus.
work in the dark.
Idea.
Even in this darkness, networking
Idea.
is important.
Focus.
Even if we
Idea.
never were, never have been,
Focus.
never will be,
Idea.
there's always
Focus.
networking. Mother, father, sister, brother. Everyone I argue with but can never reach a satisfactory resolution, then continue despising one another but smiling because it oils the wheels, you know. Mother, father, sister, brother. Mother, father, sister, brother. Rain down your massive shape, one solid block of shadow rain to eat my mother, father, sister, brother, and reach, at last, a satisfactory conclusion. All wheels must, eventually, stop turning.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Then
Focus.
the
Idea.
queen was swallowed,
Focus. Idea.
and the king,
Focus. Idea.
and the government
Focus.
inspector,
Idea.
and all
Focus idea.
our estate agents.
Focus. Idea.
And we
Focus
said
idea.
to the cloud,
Focus. Idea.
all wheels
Focus idea.
must
Focus.
ultimately
Idea.
stop.
Focus.
turning.
Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea. Focus. Idea.
Planet X, NIBIRU's gravity, and as it gets closer to Earth, basically we're all gonna die.
You are listening to the AvantHard Collective on Resonance 104.4 FM, and this is the end of the World Opera Special. NIBIRU, which you were just listening to another extract of, is a piece we're being very, very outreach with it, like with my opera last year, The United Kingdom of Earth, very outreach, large community involvement all over the world. And with this, we've also been gathering together a large cast of professional and non-professional actors and singers and dancers and trapezeists and clownists and trampolinists and contortionists and all of that kind of thing, because it's a great big production. It is wild and visionary, and I would like to say it has a large budget and all that, but it's not true. So we're making large visions out of corrugated card. Basically, that's the thing, because it's as usual, cutting corners and making vast compromises, which is problematic. But they tell you, they try to be helpful to you, and they tell you that over time, it's character building, and just imagine what if you hadn't have all that trouble with finances, your work would have been, it just wouldn't have been the same, would it? It's like, no, yeah, well, nice for you to say. It would have been probably better, and I also probably wouldn't have had a breakdown, but no, that's fine. If you want to enjoy my poverty, then you do that. Yes, so NIBIRU is a corrugated card epic, continuing in the tradition of a lifetime of cutting corners theatrically, because apparently nobody has the money to make theatre anymore. That's what I get told. And as justification, oh well, no one has the money. And I said, well then why are there theatre shows all over the place? Yeah. But I developed a solution. What to this? That? To the problem with having lots of ideas for shows but never the money to put them on. I think that the new art form, also because of how quickly information goes on the internet and how quickly people consume and then forget stuff, I thought that instead of like if like Mozart and Lorenzo da Ponte, when they wrote The Marriage of Figaro, if they could have just described it instead. Imagine the amount of time they would have saved, and they could have been doing better things, trampolining and swimming and I don't know, whatever they like to do.
Mozart liked his trampolines.
Yeah, he did like.
He seems like the type.
Yeah, and they could have done that. So I started a few years ago when people asked me if I could come. Like people would mail me and say, "Can you bring an opera?" And it's like, well. Yeah, well, have you got any money? Well, we can pay your travel. It's like, but
they ask you to bring.
Yeah, can you bring one of your operas? No, not really. But I developed a solution. Is that instead of bringing an opera, you can just describe it. So instead of writing an opera, and I think this will eventually apply in the sort of the way that the internet and the way that consumerism is going. Eventually, we won't have to make anything anymore. We'll just have to sort of describe it. So describe the painting that you were going to do, Cézanne saying, I'm going to paint some ladies on a beach having a bathe, and then people would have said, that sounds okay. So I thought, since this descriptive opera thing, it lends itself very well to radio, I wondered if we might play an extract of one of my old pieces, Gargantua, and I can describe to you what.
Yeah, because I haven't actually seen this.
So I can describe to you
this will be good for me.
What's happening.
Because we're going to do this again, aren't we? So it's probably quite good.
Yes. So basically, after this, once you've heard this, you can decide whether or not you want to be in it.
Okay.
And I won't be offended if you don't like it.
Oh, this is exciting.
So at this point, I won't tell you what's happened before because that'd take a long time. But at this point, the lights come up, and there is a large hotel in the background that's made out of acrylic painted paper, and it says Hotel Panurge along the top.
Who shall have it? The keeper of the sheep.
And then two guys come on. They're very big. They both have sort of, I would say, each kind of about 6.5 feet, maybe a little bit more. And they walk across the stiage.
Okay.
And one has his arm on the other one's shoulder. They take 3 steps forward and 1 step back, and now they stop and they talk to each other.
24th December. I presume, my dear Ludo, you were too drunk to remember.
And now every time that they're talking, one is walking forwards and the other one steps back. So the one who's talking now is at the front, and now they swap, and now he's at the front.
This is no time to be squabbling like husbands and wives. This is undoubtedly the most important case we've ever chanced upon in either of our checkered, wasted lives.
On that bit, they lean back a bit.
Right,
They lean back.
Perhaps prepare a pipe, my dearie, and we should try to collect our thoughts. Think clearly. Attempt to come up with some kind of rational and deductive theory.
They're still just going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, I reckon I can do that. Yeah.
The lighting stays the same during all the. In fact, the lighting state is the same for the whole show. There was no lighting in Gargantua; it just stayed the same. But in fact, you were talking about designing my lighting, weren't you?
Yeah.
So you could also, if you wanted to,
I could describe the lighting.
You could describe the lighting. Yeah. How would you describe? I mean, how would you feel from what I've told you that this should be lit?
It was at this moment the drinkers, repulsed by his fetid stench,
The atmosphere is sort of dense but garish.
Well, you probably want to get some like nice sort of red and blue gels, really. That's what all the theatres have got anyway.
Yeah, some nice red and blue.
Why so inconsequential a thing?
Although it's this section would
Lighting's
also.
always nice. Uplighting's always nice.
Yeah, this would work very nice. This would work very nice with uplighting because they're wearing these big fiberglass heads, and if they were uplit, they'd look terrifying. So we should do that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the two detectives are now deciding that the king has been kidnapped, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do next. They're still just doing this walking backwards and forwards. My shows, there's a lot that's really boring and really repetitive. So just for the last few minutes, these two guys have just been walking backwards and forwards. But that's it, you know, with your opera and your low budget. Sometimes you just don't have time to think, and you just have to make people walk backwards and forwards. But if they were uplit, that would remove that tedium. I'm glad we've consolidated that idea.
Get a disco ball and shine a torch on it. That could look good.
Yes, that would look beautiful, wouldn't it? Okay, so what happens now is the detectives both have walked off the stage, because what they've decided to do is they are going to continue their investigation by smoking opium and seeing where their dreams will lead them. So at this point you see on the projection Jean Cocteau's hands filling up an opium pipe from his film The Blood of a Poet, and the sound you can hear is some wooden blocks painted in different primary colours with letters of the alphabet on, and they're just being thrown onto the stage from off stage, so it looks like they're just coming from nowhere.
Okay, I can see that.
And now lots of towers and architecture are starting to lift up, and they have a piano roll superimposed on top of it, so you get a kind of polyphonic effect between the raising towers and the piano roll, And then at this point, I believe I come onto the stage, and I'm dressed so beautifully, you wouldn't believe it. Oh, long socks up to my knees, it's gorgeous. And I push off all the blocks off the stage using my hands and my head, and while I'm sticking my bum in the air, and I sort of push him off like an animal. And at this point, a man dressed as a big sheep with a long white cloak comes and stands on the stage and stands in front of the projection and has the images put onto him. And now you see Orson Welles being interviewed about dreams and architecture and cinema. And during this, I also come on to the back and raise my hand in the air in the Renaissance gesture of the indication of heaven.
Oh. I like Orson Welles.
I like Orson Welles too.
Which is like some of the dreams I have had. I think it's pompous and silly to say what a dream is like, because we're all dreamers and we all dream different ways. And I move from one kind of architecture to another in my dreams without any difficulty whatsoever. And it's a little harder to do with a camera and make you believe you're in the same movie. But that comes from years of hanky-panky and sidearm snookery.
The appearance instantaneously disclosed was of a mighty city, boldly say a wilderness of buildings sinking far, and self-withdrawn into a wondrous depth. Far sinking into splendor without end.
And by this point, a fox in a tight-fitting dress has come onto the stage and is doing a really beautiful conceptual dance. And that's my dulcet pipes there singing Wordsworth's Architecture Dream. And the projection has things like The Wizard of Oz and yes, on loops, and collage of architecture, and the singing sheep is screaming and also has his hand pointed to the heavens like I do.
Okay.
And we're generally just kind of getting off on a big sort of Isadora Duncan opiated electronic ballet. Okay. Which is
I can see that.
No, we'll stop that right there because I didn't want to hear it anymore. But I feel like perhaps do you feel from this description that you might be interested?
Yeah, I reckon I'm into that. Definitely
in taking part.
Yeah.
Good. Because this is really the future of all of our art now, is that we will have to just make do with describing what might have been.
If we'd had the budget.
If we'd had the budget.
However, if the whole concept of opera is supposed to be that it always contains some current aspect of the political, socio-political sphere and everything, if you're making opera that's actually poverty art, then that's surely more authentic in terms of what the art form actually does than, say, just rerunning La Boheme over and over again. Because that one in particular, I mean, I think like La Boheme, the storyline has always struck me as relatively stupid, because it's like, there's a bloke in a flat, his mates go to the pub, a woman comes in, she hasn't got a candle, the guy decides he's in love with her and says he wants to tell her all about his life, and then everyone gets TB and dies, which is current at the time. I guess that makes sense. It's something that I can't really relate to because we're not surrounded by lots of people dying of consumption, but making things now that involve the internet and involve a lot of low budget sort of stuff like you've been talking about is surely more of an authentic kind of way of doing opera than just continuously rerunning the same things that were written 400 years ago.
Yes, I actually literally don't have an understanding of this. And I think that's a reason why I find the opera world very, very hard to understand. I don't understand why it is necessary to spend so much money every year putting on the same thing.
Pieces.
Like, for example, in fact, this is slightly different, a slight development, because Milan have been putting on The Marriage of Figaro for I don't know how long. I don't know how long Figaro's been going on, and it's been exactly the same production of Figaro every year in Milan. For goodness knows how long, until this year when our friend Freddie directed the new one.
Didn't he?
Yes, so he's bringing some refreshment to it. But how about instead, don't put on The Marriage of Figaro, put on something new.
Einstein on the Beach would be nice. I mean, it's not exactly new, but hardly anyone seems to do it. I think that is actually quite relevant for now, I suppose.
In fact, that's also a bit of a describing opera, isn't it? Because the libretto for it is only one page or something like that for this.
Mostly speaking and...
Yeah. And Philip
numbers.
Glass would have saved time in the writing, and the audience would have saved time in the watching, because it's quite long, isn't it? It's
very long.
3, 4... Is it 5 hours
I think it's
long?
5 hours.
Imagine how much of time everybody could have saved if they just...
Oh, but it's nice though, isn't it? It's like going into a nice hole.
Yeah.
Having a bit of a lie down. Yeah.
Yes, but in this time, I think at this time in this age, we have to prioritize always being useful with our time, rather than passing our time with mere entertainment. So maybe I should formalize that NIBIRU is going to be the last show that I ever put on, and afterwards they should be entirely just described or written on a post-it note. For example, a post-it note opera would be nice, wouldn't it? Where you just kind of write down what it's going to be. So if we had a post-it note opera and it was La Bohème, you could just have a post-it note that said what? Candles, TB...
Well, I quite wanted to try live tweeting it. Not that that's the thing that I actually do, but I thought it would be quite nice. I did try to do that with the ring cycle as well, but it was about 18 hours long.
What, live tweeting from
I wanted to do
cycle?
that. They wouldn't let me. I don't think they'd let me take my phone in, but that's effectively the same thing, really.
Yeah.
Should we play another track?
Let's play another track. I'm getting carried away with my post-it note opera here. What would you like to...
Well, would you like to play more of NIBIRU or the Mozart versus Machine aria?
Perhaps time looks pretty low. Maybe we should move on to the Mozart versus Machine aria.
Okay.
Yes.
10 minutes. Do you want to talk a bit about how this came about? The aria.
The aria from Mozart versus Machine, which we've done that very neatly, because we just talked about Freddie, didn't we? And
we did.
Freddie was the director of Mozart versus Machine. See, us describing artists, we have structure internally. We're like machines. We're like human clocks. Frederick Wake Walker directed Mozart versus Machine.
Mozart versus Machine about?
Mozart
Dominic
versus Machine is about a collision in space-time, a tear in the universe that puts the composers Mozart and Raymond Scott in a room together, where they are forced to battle out their respective musical compositional philosophies, and it all culminates in a massive internal intellectual property case where Mozart is tried for the theft of various people's music by time travel. It was produced and developed with Mahogany Opera Group and Sound and Music, and it toured the UK to acclaim last year. I got the little pause just after acclaim, just right then. I felt that in the air. And yes, it was fun. It had a marvelous cast in it. And that wasn't a describing opera. That was
a big opera.
Big. And we had 12 odd ladies sitting on space hoppers.
That was a beautiful.
How often do you get
opera.
that? You don't get that in Figaro, do you?
La Boheme. No.
No, get in La Boheme.
TB and La Boheme. In terms of what you're about to play, the aria, do you want to explain a bit about how that came about?
This is the Sun King aria, which is the climax of Mozart versus Machine, where Mozart is made sort of emperor of the universe. But I got really interested in the idea of how collage can work within opera, and so this is a version basically of the Queen of the Night aria from the Magic Flute. I went with Frederick Waite Walker, and a harpsichordist and a soprano into a room, and we took scissors and glue and chopped up the Queen of the Night aria, and then the singer and the harpsichordist played the little sections that we'd cut up with scissors and glue, and which sounded like this. And I took the recordings away and on the computer collaged the recordings together into a piece that worked musically, and then took this recording and transcribed that onto a music score to be performed by a soprano. And that was the process of that. So now we can listen to an excerpt of it with Rebecca Botwan singing it.
I've got stacks of old memories piled inside my head. Would you like to see some? Over here, I keep childhood memories. Down here, memories of my family. That's Laura and my wife. Those are our kids. Hey, here's a nice memory. This was a picnic we went on last fall.
Rebecca Botwan in very full voice there, singing the Sun King aria from Mozart vs. Machine. And now we are coming towards the end of this brutalist landscape of shattered operatic dreams. And we have to wrap up and remember also the reason that we're here is to tell you all about our wonderful end of the world techno spoken word apocalypse opera NIBIRU. Reclaim the end of your world, make a difference, just like Revlon do. This is taking place at Rada Studios on August the 7th at 9 p.m. As part of Tete Tete, the Opera Festival.
Opera. With the artists of Tete Tete the Opera Festival. Helen Caddick, Elfine Jones, Sinead O'Neill, and Norman Welch. Opera.
Vicky and Albert. New technology and new attitudes to composition are creating a new kind of opera immersed in the sound environments of the world we live in.
Amphora.
Einstein's dreams.
In the cool waters of the river, the hippo gives birth.
In a world of three, timelines.
For me, opera in the 21st century means the baby hippo swims to the surface of the water and takes its first breath. Joy, passion, beauty, everything.
You're just a stupid app. You're nothing to me. Nothing. Then why do you reveal your soul to me?
Opera in the 21st century is anything you want it to be.
Incidentally, if you would like to be in NIBIRU and come and accompany us in large scale, it's going to be like the Rite of Spring, basically, at the end, isn't it? But with tap dancing and Santa being
violently sacrificed to
NIBIRU.
I think to NIBIRU.
If you would like to be in this, it's very glittery and sparkly, then you should get in touch. It's only going to be a day or so of rehearsal, probably on the 6th or more, but email us. What's the best email address to give? Probably mine or yours. Yours is difficult to remember.
Yeah, yours is easy to remember,
okay.
isn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
Giving out your email address online doesn't matter. This is how much I trust you. It's depresstival@gmail.com. Feel free to get in touch with me and I'll send you the details. Anything else?
If you are interested in seeing more of our things like describing operas and DIY fun, then you could do worse than head to Lottie's residency at the Others Bar in Stoke Newington.
Next one's on the 12th of September.
Depresstival Presents.
Called Depresstival Presents. We put on a lot of DIY, scratch opera and stuff like that, and there's always something interesting there. We had a voice-activated drawing machine, that sort of thing. You probably understand, but is that about...
Yeah, we also had Richard Branson.
Richard. We had an opera recently by a guy called Edward Gypsy.
No, it's the real Richard Branson.
Oh no, it was the real
It's the
Richard
real
Branson.
Richard,
He's in
because
NIBIRU. He's in
yes.
NIBIRU.
So we had the real Richard Branson come to Depresstival Presents and present his autobiographical opera, and now the real Richard Branson and the real Rupert Murdoch are appearing in NIBIRU.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you come, you'll see what happens to them. I'm sure it won't be pleasant.
Yep. So if that doesn't all tempt you to take off your tiara, take off your finely pressed suit, and run around London in your underwear, screaming opera, 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 I love 21st century anarchists, modernists, radical avant-garde, homemade DIY description opera. If that hasn't happened to you as a result of this broadcast, then I'll be very surprised. This is Resonance 104.4 FM. I was going to say PM.
AM last time. FM.
I've been. Did I say AM? I've been Ergo Phizmiz PLC.
And I'm Depresstival or Lottie, whatever. Cheers.
Opera.
This program has been brought to you by Resonance 104.4 FM. If you liked what you heard and want to support our work, please make a donation at fundraiser.resonance.fm.